Okay, so the moment you've been waiting for has finally arrived. What we're going to do is we're going to get our character talking. So we already know that we have a graphic that's set up that we can select, and we can change which expression. So from our last lesson, we can change, which version, which expression we want our character to show. So from our mouth positions. So to get started, you can either use your own South Park character. Hopefully you finished the last part and you have a file that's already ready to go. If you don't, you can just, from the files that you were given, you can open up O3 SP mouth positions. So just open up 03 SP mouth positions. If you open up that file, that'll give you a great starting point if you don't already have one. And we're just going to put that onto frame 1. Now, before we do anything, what I want to make sure is that my character has been set up to only show a single frame. We talked about that in an earlier lesson. You'll notice that the looping right now is set to loop, meaning if I was to play this video right now, it would actually just fly through, and it didn't do that here. Sometimes, well, sorry, I should have more frames. If I actually insert more frames, that's what I should have done, and I actually play this, you're going to notice what's going to happen is it's just going to start cycling through all the mouths, which looks really, really silly. We'll worry about the rest later. So what I'm going to do before I do anything is I'm going to make sure that the loop has been set to single frame. And now we're ready to go. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to bring in my audio. I'm going to just make a new layer, and this layer is going to be where my audio goes. So I'm going to just type audio, and I'm going to import my audio. So I'm going to go File, Import to Library. So in your dialog file, you should have a file called practiceaudio.wave, and you can import that into your library, and there it is. If you want, you can actually press it, just highlight it once, click it once in your library, and you can press the play button up here on the top right.
Oh my God, you killed Kenny!
And that'll give you a preview of what the audio is. With frame 1 of the audio layer selected, I'm just going to take practice audio and drag it anywhere onto my stage, and I'm going to let go. It really doesn't matter where you place it. It won't show up. It just pops up on the layer. Now you'll notice on mine that I've got these little wavelengths showing here. You can actually see where there's audio. You might not have that. You might, apologize for that. You might have this. I just want to set something up here because I believe that's how yours should be set up. So right now you can't see any of the audio. What I want to do is I'm just going to jump down the audio layer, and I'm just going to press F5 for insert frame. And what that does, it just shows you more. Don't worry about the character being gone. We'll deal with that in a second. And I'm actually going to keep inserting a frame until I reach, now I can see the end of the audio. That's where the character stops talking. And I might jump a few frames afterwards. So now I can see all the audio. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead up to the guide layer. This is my guide. It let me know where all my sounds were, what facial expressions there were. And then I'm going to go down to my character, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to insert a frame so that everything is on the screen for the same amount of time. Now the only problem is, as I go through here, I can't hear what the character's saying. I have no idea what the character's saying, and that's going to make syncing up the mouths very, very difficult. That's because your sound right now is kind of set up to be like background music. It just plays. They're basically assuming this really isn't necessary for your animation. It's kind of like ambient music. And what we need to tell it is, no, this is actually important. I need things to play at particular times or things are going to go very wrong. So in Flash, the way you do that, you would select any frame of your audio layer. You would go over to the properties, and where it says sync, you set it to stream. And what that means is kind of like streaming a video. It's going to play it as soon as you reach that point. It's not going to wait. So what's going to happen now is when you scrub, you're actually you'll actually hear it as you scrub through. So now we'll know when we go like this, the character's starting to say, oh, and that's how we're going to make it work. Now, before I do anything else, it'd be a great idea at this point to save it because we're going to start editing. We're going to start manipulating this. And what I'm going to do, I find these frames really hard to work with. So I'm just going to, over here in the right-hand corner, make my frames large. And I'm going to take my audio layer properties, and I'm going to set the height to 300. And so now I've got a really good idea of where things happen. I can really see the audio nicely. So right here, there's not a whole lot going on. Now I'm going to kind of fly through this because it is rather repetitive. So I will start off a little bit slow, and then I'm just going to kind of fly through so you can get the rest of it. It's better to be a little bit early than late with sound. So even though right here, when we go, the difference between frame 2 and 3, we know the sentence is, oh my God, you killed Kenny. With this, it sounds like he's saying, oh, you can really hear it on frame 3. But he starts saying it on frame 2. So what I'm going to do is on frame 2 of the character layer, I'm going to insert a keyframe. I want to make a change. Select my character, and I know he's saying, oh, well, that's frame 5. And there you go. So now he's saying, oh. Now you decide. If you want him to be more excited, remember, put the number 1 in front. 15. If you want him to be angry about it, put a 2 in front of it. So as we go through, choose whatever ones you feel works best. Don't necessarily use the ones I do. Choose the ones you feel work best. So he says oh for a while. And then right about frame 6 or 7, he starts saying the my. So I'm going to go to frame 6 and say this is where he starts saying my. Now you have to figure out how is he saying it. Is he going my, which is really quick, or is he saying it a little bit slower like my, which would have an ah in between? Okay, and I can hear an ah there. So on frame 6, I'm going to insert a keyframe, and I'm going to say, here he's saying so it's number 1. There's the ah sound. So on frame 7, I'm going to insert a keyframe, and I'm just pressing F6 to insert a keyframe. Put it in frame 2. And then on frame 8, I'm going to put in. So now we've got. Oh my. Now what you need to do at this point is keep saving. That would be a great idea. But you need to listen to it. Just keep listening to it and decide where things are being said. So now I've gone through this quite a few times. So I know that he says oh, he says my from 6, 7, and 8. And then God happens from 11 to about 17. So oh my. And you can see right here at about frame 18, he's done saying it. So right here at frame 11, we can hear he's starting to say God. So I'm going to put a keyframe in there. And I'm going to say G would be a consonant, so it's frame 4. And again, you might say, hey, no, he's a little bit more excited. 14. Now for oh my God. So at frame 13, right here is the ah sound. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put in an F6, insert keyframe, and ah would be frame 2. So maybe let's go, instead of 2, we'll go 12 because we want them to still be kind of eyebrows up. Ga, and then D. Frame 17 looks about right. And on frame 17, so we can say the eyebrows go up, and the eyebrows come down. You know what? No, I want to keep them up. I'm going to go to 14 instead of 4. And then he stops talking for a while. We need him to close his mouth. So in frame 19, right here where the sound stops, I'm going to insert another keyframe. I'm going to put in a frame 1. Now he's got this little smile. That's something I may want to change when I was designing my character. You'll notice some of the mouths are different than the other files. This one is based on the final version. So your mouths might look a little different, which is fine. So now we have to do the "You Killed Kenny." So you starts at frame about 21. Or 23, sorry. 23, right here. So here's where I'm going to go a little bit quicker. Frame 23, 24, and 25 is where you start saying "you." So on 23, we'll show frame, he's angry now. So we're going to make him close his eyes first. He closes his eyes, he squinches before he starts talking. So "you" is really just "e-oo," "you." So we're going to go straight from a 23. So the 3 up here, "e," then "oo." And then, sorry, that was frame 24. It showed frame version 3. And then frame 25, insert another keyframe. And then "oo" would be 25. "You." We're just going to jump down. 28, 29, 30, and 31 is where we're going to jump down here. So 28, 29, all in here. So 28. So we're going to do this quickly now. 28. You killed. So we're going to go 4. Okay, or 14 or 24, whichever you prefer. 29. We're going to put in version 3. 30. We're going to put in version 6. And 31. We'll put in version 4. Tongue's a little weird on that one. Definitely should have redesigned that. That's okay. So now we've got killed. And then 35, he's starting to say Kenny. So we're going to go F6. K is 24. Or 4 or 14. Again, same thing. 35, 36. We're going to show version 23. And why did I get that? Because K. Then we're going back to an L. Oh, sorry, Kenny. K. Then it's N. K. Then at frame 39. Well, frame 39 is where you start saying that Ni. Consonant is 24. Or 4, I should say. And then go to 41. This is where he stops and he says E. Ken E. 23. So now we've got K. N. E. And then he's done. So we'll go to frame. We'll put an F6 right about here. And we'll just change him back to frame 1. So he's done talking. And then we'll just leave him on the screen for not very many frames after that before he'll, in our movie, it'll actually end up looping and he'll play it again and again. So if we go through, bear with me as I rewind. Actually, I'll just drag it back like this. As we drag through and just listen to it real quick. That went a little quick, but you get the idea of what's happening. We test this out now.
Oh my God! You killed Kenny!